Go ahead with questions when you guys are ready.
The emotions like, Kendall, to see Illinois get called for your final time?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially for it being like the last year for all of us seniors. I think it's pretty special, especially to being able to go somewhere we haven't been yet and play, a team from a different conference. So I think we were all really anticipating it, really excited. It's been kind of building up all week with no one to scout and just practicing against each other. So we're all really excited and really blessed.
How much attention did you pay to it could be them, or did you try to stay away from it?
So, I tried to stay away from it, but they kept throwing us against Richmond, and I have, Sam Dewey from last year's team plays on there, so we've been talking all week like, we're going to get to play each other. So we've been paying attention to it from that aspect as friends, but I really tried to stay away from it just because, you can get so caught up in like the cycles of that you're going here, you're going there, and it just stresses you out. So.
How would you maybe compare the emotions 2 years ago versus now of what maybe the difference is there?
I think the difference, that first year we were just excited to be in the tournament. We hadn't been there in 20 years. So I think that year we were all just excited to make it, and that was the goal. But I think this year it was more of like we deserve to be in it, and now we want to be, we can focus more on the seeding, who we're playing, where we are. So I think it's more of a like, we finally deserve to be here and we're in a good spot. So just pretty excited.
What's the value of being in it 2 years ago and then last year's run through the WBIT?
I think it gives us a lot of experience. I think we're a pretty old team, and I think that gives us a lot of experience in those games, especially even some of our younger guys, Corey, Gretchen, some of them have that tournament experience. Even though it was in the BIT, you're still playing for a championship game against national level teams. And I think it's really good too because it'll give a lot of our younger guys, a lot of our freshmen that tournament experience before we leave, so that way they can continue to carry that on. And I think it just helps. It limits the nerves, it limits kind of that just anxiety of traveling, playing a new team. If you lose, you're done. So we kind of know what it takes to win 5 games in a row and get to a championship.
Has it been a tough needle to thread this week with trying to stay sharp, physically, but also needing to get fresh legs for this tournament?
I think we've done a pretty good job balancing it. We had 2 pretty hard practices, Monday and Tuesday, and then a lot of it's just really been like rehab, recovery, getting shots up like today. We just did, post guard breakdown and then some shooting competitions for fun. So it's been a pretty good balance because we know we need everyone healthy and to recover, but we also need to be able to stay conditioned and stay sharp since we did have basically 2 weeks.
I wanted to ask the value of having 16 days between games. Like, what has that done for you guys?
I think it's done a lot, especially for for our team. I think for some teams it can be bothersome, but I think for us we really needed it because we were able lost the last 4 games of the season, so I think it helped us kind of take some things we needed to work on them, but it also gave us time to actively recover. We only have a couple people playing, so getting that rest is just as vital as being on the court.
What this layover though, just a waiting game, and what's that kind of like to deal with? Obviously you've now dealt with a couple years in a row. What are those emotions of the whole week?
It's like you're nervous, but it's fun. We kind of knew we were gonna get in, and so you're kind of waiting around all week. So it's just like it's gonna happen. So it's kind of like annoying almost, but it makes the moment even better just because we just got to see our name on the board to celebrate and all that stuff.
Kind of different than 2 years ago too, because you guys were maybe not sure and playing that playing game. So how different is this feeling than maybe a couple of years ago?
I think it's really different. Like I said, that year we were just excited to get in, so we didn't care where we were, playing game or not. But now I think we're really excited to be not in a playing game. An 8 or 9 seed playing in another 8 or 9 seed. So I think we're just really really excited to be able to play someone and kind of have that first game be in the tournament.
How does this core of seniors deal with the idea that the next time you lose, we're all done?
We're not. I don't think we're thinking about that. We're trying not to think about it as much. We want to know every game, so we're just going, one game to the next, and we got to focus on that matchup, and then, whatever happens at the end, that's when you kind of focus on those emotions. But leading up to those games, that's our focus. We're focused on leading this team to the next game possible, and doing everything we can to get there.
Not the headline of the day, obviously, but the matching Coach Green shirts. What was the behind the scenes there?
So we got to do a really cool thing with Campus Inc. where they do it with the guys team, but they invited us in and we got to make a bunch of shirts with our names, our teammates, all that really cool stuff. You see Ty Rogers wearing a lot of those shirts, basically those for the girls. And they had a Coach Green one. We're all like, we have to have matching ones. So they sent us a box of matching ones, and we all decided to wear them today.
I know last year you guys talked about the WBIT being a catapult into this. Looking back, how did it catapult you guys into the season and being ready for this tournament?
Yeah, I think last season it just wasn't what we expected. I think we had higher expectations than what we were able to produce. And so going into that tournament, that's not where we wanted to be at all. And so we kind of had the mindset of all right, if we're going to be here, we're going to win it and show that we should have been somewhere else. And I think we did a great job of that. We played, that's the most together we were that whole year, and it was 5-6 games in a row to a championship. So I think it just kind of gives us that experience and that mindset that we know we have to have going into this tournament, that it's just it's another tournament, it's another game, and we focus on one game at a time. So it gives us quite a bit of experience with that.
Does it maybe build that togetherness organically versus trying to, I guess, recreate what it was? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we've been playing together so long that we just kind of like have that. But it definitely does, take a little bit of us focusing on, it is higher stakes. I mean, we're all old enough to understand that it's higher stakes. It's a tournament. If you lose, you're done. So I think we've kind of been talking about it a little bit all week, trying to get the younger guys to understand we have to be as sharp as we've been all year in practices, in film, and everything. And so it's really important for us to kind of reiterate that to them. But yeah, it's definitely a little different.
KB, is there a personal level of satisfaction for you because 2 years ago you weren't healthy for this, and
yeah,
you are now?
Yeah, knock on the wood, please. Yeah, I mean, it's great going into it healthy. I'm really excited to actually, I played that 1 year at Michigan State, but to really be able to be here with this team is pretty special. And knowing I'll be able to play in it is also pretty special. But it'll just be fun, getting to work at everything all week. So yeah.
What were the emotions like to hear or see your name called on that, Jen?
I think this one I think to me it meant a lot more than the first one, just because of not making it last year and just the disappointment of that, but also winning a championship that year, so the expectations are high for this year. And yeah, I was kind of nervous. I didn't think I was going to be that nervous, and my heart was beating fast, and just to see our name, just see how everyone was just so happy and support. I'm glad we was able to do this in front of fans and just have that last kind of moment at home. I think that was really cool for me.
And to have earned an 8 seed versus being in the first 4 games, how much does that maybe sort of add to what you've been able to accomplish as a team this year?
Yeah, I think our first year we had to play on Wednesday, so it's there was a quick turnaround. It was kind of disappointing, but to not be able to play to have to play the Saturday gives us a lot of time for preparation and kind of just I know the coaches get some prep time and really get to go through scout. But I think just knowing that we're in the tournament, I know you're still in at 68, but just knowing you're part of that 64 that's in it, just a different feeling.
You've been through 3 Big Ten tournaments now and 2 March tournaments as well, 5 total. So what does that bring you and the rest of the team that have done that much?
Experience. I mean, just how old we are. I mean, 5th years with seniors and we started 5 and then, Barry, but just to see how everything works out in this proper time. And it's been our last year and being in that tournament, then being able to go to Texas. I mean, I've never been to Austin, Texas, so still being able to travel the country like that and do it while playing basketball, I think is really special and just excited for this opportunity.
That's 16 days between games for you guys in particular. How important was not having games for other tournaments?
Yeah, I think everybody is different. I think for our team, rest is so good for us just because we feel energized, we feel ready, we feel just jumping out the gym tight. So I just think that rest was really good for us, and we still was working and practicing things of that nature, but just not being able to have the games, I think that's been really, really good for us, and I'm just excited to see how that translates on Saturday.
And beyond rest, working on yourselves, maybe some of those closing stretches, how important was that to not have to prep for the next team immediately?
Yeah, I mean, we took full advantage. We was doing the basics, 3-line closeouts, just the basic type of drills, and kind of just fine-tune things. That's stuff you don't really get to do in season, but just really doing the basics of just simple things. I think we do simple things better, we're a better team.
In terms of the mindset.
Yeah, like you said, first time, it was like kids in a candy shop. We were just happy to be there, just to experience that scene. But I think now we have some maturity under our belt, and first team, this is our last year, so we don't have a next year in college basketball. So I think just bringing that desire and that passion, also just the intensity of knowing we've been here before. We have beat great teams in the Big Ten, so we are capable of beating anybody when we play our best game, and just having that confidence and swag about us.
How do you bottle up that togetherness and that emotion from last year's run? I mean, it's still a tournament run here. How do you translate that maybe to this year?